And I'm going to start screen sharing. Could a staff person share the agenda again for today? Whoops. That is not what I meant to do. Pardon me. Ta-da. Okay. So I just pulled up, it just says Senior and Disability Action General Meeting, November 11th, 2001. My name is Jessica Lehman. I'm our Executive Director, co-facilitating today with Pyra. And so we talked about language justice and also a note on access. We believe in collective access, that it is, we all share the responsibility of making sure that things are as accessible as possible and that people can access materials and ideas in whatever way works for them. So anything that we have shown visually or in the chat today, we will be reading out or describing. And we will share all the materials later as well. And if there are access issues that we haven't thought of or other needs that come up, please don't hesitate to share those, ideally in the chat. If the chat is not accessible to you, then you can unmute yourself and say that. And Betty, do you want to give a quick welcome?
Hi, I'm the board president of Senior and Disability Action. I'm sorry, it says appellant there with my name. I was at the Board of Appeals last night trying to appeal saving the trees around the library. So my name, that's why it says that. But anyway, I'm the board president here at SDA and welcoming everybody. We have close to 40 people and it's great to see some familiar faces and thank you so much for coming back and being so supportive, and also some new faces. So I'm glad to faces and names. So welcome everyone. And looking at the agenda, it's quite an exciting agenda. We're going to see a film later on and we're going to have a good discussion. So I want to thank staff for every month having such a great program for us. So let's move along. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Betty. So our meeting agenda that Betty just referred to, we're going to recognize Veterans Day. We're going to take a moment today to remember those that we've lost in the last year or two. We'll be sharing holiday resources, food and mental health resources. And then we're going to see a short film on ableism, oppression or discrimination based on disability. We're going to have some small group discussions on that. And then we have a lot of announcements because there are lots of actions and things going on. Okay, so that is all of that for now. So what new folks do we have joining us today? What new members are here today? Has anyone joined in the last month or two?
Yes, my name's Esther. I'm learning
Welcome,
how to use the iPad. I think I can, yeah. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Oh, okay, good. That's it.
That's great. And oops, I'm trying to remove my spotlight so we can see each other. Go ahead.
Well, I haven't gotten that far yet to pull up everything. That's
okay. Sorry.
That's okay, Esther. Thank you.
Okay, bye. I'm muting.
Okay, great. And Amaranthia and Claire?
Yeah, hi. From New Hampshire.
From New Hampshire. Oh my gosh, we really are expanding.
Yeah.
Welcome. We're so glad to have you.
Yeah, we just joined last month.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Rhea and Dana.
That's
great.
Yeah.
Very excited to be here.
Yeah, nice to meet everyone.
Wonderful. And I'm looking around at the names, a lot of familiar names and faces, which is wonderful. All right. Well, thank you for being here, everybody. So what is next? Okay. We also, I know that we tend to use a lot of terms and acronyms and abbreviations that some people are familiar with, but not everybody. So we have a list of common acronyms and terms that I'm going to share in the chat. And I think we've emailed them out. We certainly will email them afterwards. So if you have questions, feel free to take a look at that. You can always ask questions as well too. Okay, on that note, I'm going to turn it over to Yessie. Yessie is one of our, I think is our newest organizer, one of our housing organizers. And she's going to talk a little bit about Veterans Day.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Mhm.
Yes.
Hi, sorry for the background noise. I hope everyone is doing well today.
Yeah.
I know it's Veteran Days today and that, you know, it looks different for everyone, but we want to acknowledge the many people affected by war. The people who went to Vietnam, Korea, Afghanistan, and other places and did not get the service they needed when they came back, especially immigrants and people of color. Many are now seniors and people with mental health disabilities who are facing different types of trauma. Many are currently unhoused. Those affected also include people living in or with family in places and have been bombed by the US. Let's uplift children and adults around the world who are forced to join the military and go to war. We want to honor all those who are victims of war in multiple ways and recognize how complicated this day is for many. I want to leave this note by my favorite African proverb that says, "The earth is a beehive, we all enter by the same door." And that means that's a lot of things, you know, to think about. It makes you think about it and makes your mind open up and stuff. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Yessie. Really
Thank you,
appreciate it.
Jesse.
All right, I'm going to turn it over to Pi and Betty for our remembrances.
So hi, everybody. This is Pyra. Are you available there, Betty? Okay.
Yes. Mhm.
Speaking of acknowledging, we have every year, I don't know for how long, Jessica, but for at least a couple of years, we've been acknowledging members who have since passed away in the last year, in this case, the last 2 years. And if Jessica can start doing the slides here. And this is a list of people that we have here. And we're also, after we mention these names, if anybody else has a member of SDA that we have not put on this list, please mention it. So got the slide there, Jessica? Okay. And would you like to start it off?
Yeah, so we have pictures for a lot of the people we're remembering today for folks where, you know, we're not sure if they would want their pictures shared or not. So I just want to recognize that. So we learned that we recently lost a longtime member of Senior and Disability Action, Christine Tourneau. And I first met Christine when I started at SDA in 2012, before it was even SDA. And she was active in our housing work. And, you know, like so many people, you know, really believed in affordable housing and would show up at meetings and hearings and speak out about how everyone should have the right to a decent place to live. So thank you to Christine for her work and for being in the world and being connected to us. And then the second person is Esther Sauvignon. I wish that Ligia Montano, one of SDA's organizers, were here to talk about Esther because they were close. But Ligia can't be here today. And Esther died from COVID last year. And I didn't have the pleasure to meet her. If there's someone here who did know her better, please speak up. But Esther just sounded like a wonderful, caring, committed woman, and we are so lucky that that she was connected to us and really had an impact on so many people's lives.
So the next person is Deborah Benedict, also a long-term member, starting from prior to SDA under the Senior Action Network. Deborah was very flamboyant. You can call on her anytime to come with us to the City Hall and do public speaking or to events. Our last event I remember she was with was our Crossing Time event down at 5th and Mission. But wherever she went, she had one of her dogs with her. So this is a classic example of having fun and organizing at the same time.
And Pi, can you describe the picture of Deborah?
Yeah, the picture showing here is, I think that was our holiday event. And we have Deborah standing up and engaging with somebody in conversation. I don't know who, but there she is standing up and having conversations at our our holiday event. And the next person is Verly Pickens. Every time I hear that name, I just think of her great pastries, her cakes. She was one of the big original members, and Betty can correct me on this, but one of the original members of SDA.
Mhm.
So it goes way back to 1992, very heavily into the union. I think it was Local 2. She just passed away a couple months ago at age 103.
Yeah.
And the picture of her is in one of our events, but I don't recognize it. But it shows her in a typical friendly, warm personality. She presented at most of our meetings. And now we have Ethel Silverstein. For me, it was great talking with her on an ongoing basis. Again, one of our original members, and very much into the labor movement. She would talk a lot about her father and Walter Johnson, and I forget the third person. It wasn't Bill Price, was it? But there was three that she a lot about union organizing, very much into that, but also very funny at times. She went to Walter Johnson's memorial, which was in Grace Cathedral. I mean, yeah, and basically she being Jewish, had to talk to a rabbi about if that was okay. And then she unfortunately tripped on something and hurt herself. And then her remark was, as they were helping her up, I have a long talk with my rabbi with this. So very funny person, very much into the union organizing, and a great member from the original cast of characters. You want to do this, Betty, or you want me to do this? Denise Deanne.
Yeah, you can start and I can add on. Yeah.
Denise Deanne, another one of our originals from the early 1990s. Basically very much into the environment. I just remember in those 90s and early 2000s, her going to almost every rally, every event. But I also remember how she would guard our recycling bin at all meetings, and making sure, positively making sure everybody recycled properly with a vigor.
That's right. I wanted to add, Denise, she was fierce about recycling when she worked for the city and with us and other organizations. She was the one that got, I think she purchased herself silverware so that we wouldn't reuse plastic, we wouldn't be using plastic. She bought us a large water container so we wouldn't be using and some glasses. I mean, she was just there for us all the time, and just a very fierce advocate for the environment, but also for seniors. And so I'm really, yeah, very.
I would just
sad
add,
to
if I could, Kathy
see- Yeah,
Lipscomb,
Kathy, yeah.
that she was a fierce supporter of transgender rights.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
And don't forget, she was a member of the SDA board.
That's right. Mhm.
Hi, or Betty, can you describe all the photos, please?
This photo, this one, they have Denise is kind of in an orange color top and actually kind of orange looking hair. So it's very attractive. And she has nice dangly earrings on and a necklace. And the background follows suit with a kind of a fall colors. It's a very beautiful picture of her.
Bottom line, she's glowing in this picture.
Yeah, she's glowing. Mhm.
Is this for you, Jessica?
Yeah, so next person we're going to talk about is Engracia Figueroa. And Engracia was not a member of Senior and Disability Action, but I think really touched a lot of us. And so we wanted to honor her. She was a member of Hand in Hand, the Domestic Employers Network, a close partner. And she was a disability advocate. She was active in the Independent Living Center in Los Angeles, and an animal rights activist, surfer, and vegan. And so she had been really active in speaking out for home and community-based services, that she knew the importance of home care. She spoke out about needing to raise wages for home care workers and ensuring support for all. And she went to Washington, D.C. Last year to talk about this. And on the plane on the way back, United Airlines destroyed her wheelchair. And because of that, well, not only because of that, but they left her stranded at the airport for a while. She was in a broken manual wheelchair. Folks had to fight for United to pay for her to get a new wheelchair, and that took months. And through all of this, her injuries led to her death just a couple weeks ago. So I do want to share, so Hand in Hand wrote a beautiful tribute to Engracia that I just put in the chat, and we will email out. And there is a petition that we are asking everyone to sign that is going around the country to call on United to stop damaging wheelchairs and to recognize the impact that this has on people. Sheila, you have a quick comment to add about Engracia?
I didn't know her very well, but she was quite a fighter, and she was well known in the Los Angeles area. Actually, I don't know if we should do this now, but I was going to add 2 more people, 3.
We're going to do that at the end if you don't mind.
Okay,
Thank you so much, Sheila.
That's what I raised for.
Okay, great. Okay, over to Betty. Oh, I'm sorry. Can you go back one? I forgot to describe the picture. Thank you, Sarah. So, so this picture is of Engracia, of course, and she is an African-American woman with short, curly hair, and she has her, it's funny, I just want to like do the gesture. Very cute picture of her smiling, and her hands are covering her chin, kind of like she's peeking out.
Yes, Betty.
Okay, the next person is Geraldine Earp. And she's one of our senior members who was really one of the founders of our pre-existing organization, Senior Action Network, SAN. She was a board president for many years. She was a strong leader for SAN and very supportive when we decided to move into the merger with Planning for Elders. She supported that. She was there at some of our events that we had. And she was also very active in her church here in the Western Addition. So she just passed fairly recently, and she was just someone that to be honest, I didn't know her as well when she was a leader with SAN, because I hadn't joined yet. But toward the end of when I was started to come to the meetings, I could see how powerful she was, and working with some of the other members like Verily Pickens that we talked about earlier. They were really a force, and we were so fortunate to have them as our leaders in the past and into our new organization.
I was actually, this is Sarah. I was going to add that I didn't know her, but I knew of her because she was also, she also worked with Planning for Elders and was very involved with the Senior Survival School before it was called Senior and Disability Survival School. But she was very involved with that early on. And I think she was a regular graduation speaker for the survival school because she was so active.
Great,
And,
thank you.
And Betty, wasn't she also the one of the first deans of senior SDU?
Yeah, I think you're correct. Yes, yeah, she was. Yeah, it was Senior Disability University. So obviously she was very interested in education and for seniors and people with disabilities. And she's here, a wonderful picture of her with her head held high, gray hair with her glasses on and a nice black top and white necklace and scarf in black and gold. It looks like she's at a dinner or something. So it's really nice picture. I just love the way her head is held so high. Thank you. Okay, I was going to talk about Brian Edwards. He just passed at age 46. It was just a shock to the Tenderloin community and the homeless, unhoused community in the Tenderloin. He was a fierce advocate for people. There was a wonderful write-up about him in the San Francisco Chronicle just recently, dated, I think, around November 8th. And people such as Sarah Short, I'll just read a brief comment that she had. He was often a thorn in people's sides, but he got results for the most vulnerable. And another very strong activist in the Tenderloin named Del Seymour, he said of Brian, he could yell and shout as loud as anybody, but people listened. And I know he's going to be tremendously missed, and people are just mourning him right now in the Tenderloin. And he's sitting, the picture we have is he's sitting in a chair with a wonderful big smile and a little, well, I'm not, I guess it's a little dog. I don't know if that's his dog, sitting on his lap, and he's looks really just so happy. And it's a great photo of him.
And then the last person whose picture we're sharing is Wilma Chan. And she was a supervisor in Alameda County. And she also recently died suddenly and tragically. She was walking her dog in the city of Alameda and was hit and killed by a car. And so while we didn't work directly with Supervisor Chan, we know it's a big loss for the Bay Area community that she was recognized as a quiet and fierce leader and advocate for marginalized communities. She spoke up a lot for children and for healthcare. She was she really wanted to lift up the voices of marginalized people. She fought for affordable housing and so many other issues that we care about. And the picture that we showed is of, she's speaking at a microphone. She's an Asian American woman. She was actually the first Asian American person elected to the Alameda County Board of Supervisors. And she has short, dark hair and is wearing glasses and has a white shirt and is at a glass podium speaking. So thank you for that. I'll turn it back over to Pi.
We had somebody raise their hand for 2 more people.
That was Sheila.
Sheila?
A real quick word for Supervisor Chan. She was also at the state legislature for a while. I don't trust my memory. I think it was assembly.
Yes, thank you.
The people that I wanted to add are, I don't have photos. I don't carry photos. I'm totally blind for those who don't know. Yeah, the first one is Stacy Milburn Park. She was the founder of the Disability Justice Culture Club, and she is a heck of an advocate, deeply, sorely missed. She was BIPOC. I want to say she's part Filipina. I'm embarrassed. I can't remember. But she was in a chair and she had a trach, and she worked at the Center for Independent Living in Berkeley, and she worked for Wells Fargo ? To do with accessibility. But she was a very well-rounded person and got a lot of people into advocacy and was very, I don't know, she brought the community up. It was great. The next one is Marilyn Golden. She was a lawyer at Disability Rights Education and Defense Fund. They have a wonderful memorial page up for her, and there are pictures and there are sayings, and lots of people knew her. She was an advocate for 30 years or more in the community. She was in a wheelchair. And it turns out that she was involved in a synagogue that a friend of mine is involved in. So that was kind of fun. I didn't know. And the last one is, I just learned that Barry Atwood passed away. I don't know him as well. He's from the Los Angeles area, but he did a lot of plan checking for buildings, and he was a California certified professional who could certify ADA compliance. He knew California Title 24, which is a California adjunct to, actually it came out before the Americans with Disabilities Act. And I got to see him speak once, but I didn't know him very well, but he made a lot of impact on our community. That's it. Sorry, I was so long.
Thank you, Sheila.
Thank you very much. Now, for the next couple minutes,
we have a couple more people.
Oh, okay, good. Somebody has eyesight. I don't.
David?
Okay, David, would you like?
Yes, I worked with Marilyn a lot. Some of you know I was a reporter for a long time with KPFA, and I had the pleasure of knowing Marilyn. She was one of the original drafters of the Americans with Disabilities Act from the mid-'80s and worked tirelessly to pass it. And, she won. She got what she wanted. And she continued to work tirelessly for civil rights here in the Bay Area and elsewhere. And she was an incredibly articulate individual. We will miss her very much.
And is there anybody else like to mention somebody from our community that has passed away recently? So for the next couple minutes, for those that we have mentioned and for those that we haven't mentioned from our community, let's have a moment of silence for a couple minutes. Just Jessica, if you can play a little music in the background too. Thank you.
The words I have to say may well be simple, but they're true. Until you give your love, there's nothing more that we can do. Love is the opening door. Love is what we came here for. No one could offer you more. Do you know what I mean? Have your eyes really seen? You say it's very hard to leave behind the life we knew. But there's no other way, and now it's really up to you. Love is the key we must turn. Truth is the flame we must burn. Freedom the lesson we must learn. Do you know what I mean? Your eyes really see. Love is the opening door.
Okay, folks.
What we came here for. No one could offer you more.
Okay.
You know what I mean.
I got it. Thank you very much. I really appreciate this. And I guess we need to move on in many ways. So the next part is, as I try to figure out with my eyes what we have here. Peter, will you want to address the next item on our agenda?
Sure. Thanks, Pi, Jessica, Betty, and everyone who shared in the last section and a lot of remembrances. I really appreciated it. Thanks for the space to just think after. The holidays are here for many of us. A number of holidays are coming, whether we celebrate them or not, and whether we want them to come or not. And while this is, a festive time for many folks, it can also be a challenging time. It can be a depressing time for some of us. And so we want to share a handful of resources and just sort of share some of the arc of resources that we've collected. I won't go into detail on all of them, but just to share some resources around mental health and wellness over the holiday time, and around food availability. We have these typed up in a document that we will send out afterwards, just to everyone so that you all can have it available. And just a reminder, I'll say this again, but you can always call the SDA Peer Advocates at 415-546-1333, and our team will certainly be happy to support, get back to you, talk through anything. But yeah, as we approach this this time that includes a lot of holiday celebration, we know that it can be depressing for some of us who might live alone, who've lost loved ones, like we were just taking time and space to remember and celebrate and appreciate, who might be isolated or feel isolated, who are having health, financial difficulties, and recognizing those signs of depression, sometimes called the holiday blues, is really important. So some of those signs include sudden sadness that won't lift, a loss of interest or pleasure, changes in appetite and weight, sleeping more than usual, crying often, feeling restless or tired all the time, feelings of worthlessness, helplessness, or guilt, slow thinking, and thoughts of death or suicide. If you're experiencing any of these, please reach out to us, reach out to others. Please also just reach out to others preemptively, right? Who you think might be experiencing those things. That is one of the most important things we can do. And many of us are really willing to be there, support each other. We've been through these things together, and we can be there for each other now. So pick up the phone, call someone, share a meal, make a trip, or take some time to do whatever it is that you appreciate doing at home. There are a couple key resources that we like to share if you'd like extra support. And again, I encourage you to reach out to the peer advocates to talk through. But the warm line of the Mental Health Association of San Francisco, the friendship line of the Institute on Aging, the San Francisco Suicide Prevention Hotline. I'm going to put all those numbers in the chat, but those are all tools that are available to all of us. And we really encourage folks to share those, to take advantage of them, to lean into them. Also, we want to share some resources around holiday meals to make sure that folks know that there are a number of places that, whether you are looking for a holiday meal or whether you want to share this information with someone else, there are a number of places around the city that are offering holiday meals or grocery bag giveaways around holiday time. Some of those are Glide, which will be doing a grocery bag giveaway on early December, and dinners on Thanksgiving and Christmas Eve, Tenderloin Tessie on Thanksgiving and Christmas, the St. Anthony's Dining Room in the Tenderloin every day of the year. And Martin DePortis offering takeout meals specifically. If you have any other needs or questions, you can always call 211 for updated information. You can reach the peer advocates at 415-546-1333. And again, we'll send this information out. And the one thing that we're still in progress of doing and consolidating nicely and neatly into this doc is some East Bay resources. So we'll be doing that as well in the coming week or two to make sure that those are shared with everyone. The doc will be a living document. It'll be a live link that you can access and you will get the updates as they come in. Thanks everyone so much. And again, please reach out. We're here and share these resources far and wide. There's something for all of us to use.
Thank you so much, Peter. Do you want to say those numbers out loud, Peter, before we go on?
Absolutely. Yeah. So the couple of numbers that I put in the chat for the warm line of the Mental Health Association of San Francisco, the number is 1-855-845-7415. For the friendship line run by the Institute on Aging, 415-752-3778. For the San Francisco Suicide Prevention Hotline, 415-984-1900. Again, we'll share these all out via email. But does anyone have any number that they want to repeat or any particular resource that they want to share?
Peter.
I see Pat's hand. Pat?
Okay, hi. Just one thing while you were talking about the different churches that give away Christmas and tenderloin goods and also have meals. You mentioned tenderloin Tessie, but you didn't mention that I don't think that it was at the Unitarian Church.
Oh, thanks, Pat. Yes, at Franklin and Gary. Yep.
Okay.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Pat.
Any others who have resources they wish to share with us? Or know of resources? Thank you very much, Peter. Now it's time for a break for our sponsors. So let's see, we got it's 11:59. How about people coming back at what do you think, Jessica? 11:06.
Sounds perfect.
So
7 minutes and we'll play some music.
and we play some music in the meantime, or you can look at various people's backgrounds, whatever you want to do. But let's have a break until 11:06. Thanks, people.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Were everyone's discussions as rich and beautiful as the one in the room I was in?
We could have gone on a lot longer. We were just getting into it and had some great start to the conversation.
I know. We wrote down a couple things. It was like, okay, we need to talk about this next time. So reminder, since we are back in the main room, everyone please set up interpretation again. So you're going to go down to the bottom of your screen, or it might be the corner if you're on a phone or a tablet. You'll either see the globe that says interpretation or go to more or options and choose English or Spanish or Filipino for Tagalog. Give me a thumbs up or raise your hand when you are good. You've got it set up. I'm seeing some nods, some thumbs up. Wonderful. Okay. So yeah, we've got about 5 minutes. So we can have one person from each group share just one thought. I know this is going to be hard, but you're going to have to keep it succinct because we've got a lot of good announcements to share. So also, I think there might have been a problem with the slides because I'm not seeing notes in there. So if folks have notes, please go ahead and put them in the slides so that we'll be able to collect those. Peter, you know who was in, actually I can pull up breakout rooms. Just kidding. Okay, so first room was Dawson's room. Is there one person who can share a thought that came out of that discussion?
Esther, could you share?
Yeah. Oh, you can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I was moved when at the very beginning of the movie.
Esther, I'm so sorry.
You can't hear me.
No, we can hear you, but pause for just 1 second because I've been reminded that we need to restart captioning. Okay. Actually, it looks like it's okay. Are captions working? Yes, captions are working. Okay, very sorry. Please go ahead.
Okay, I saw in the very beginning, the word on the right side that said invalid. And that same word appeared on to the left. And I didn't think of them. I thought of invalid. And that too frequently, people with disabilities are invalidated in our society. And I'm a woman of African descent. I saw, I did a juxtaposition of Gordon Parks' American Gothic, and with the painting American Gothic, and depicting how women of African descent are invalidated in our culture, and use the negative phrases under Gordon Parks' American Gothic, and the positive of the painting American Gothic. So I thought of that, how our society in general just invalidates. Thank you.
Really beautiful, Esther. Thank you so much. As you were talking, this strikes me that we often share things like this in the newsletter that goes out every month or every couple months. If anyone is interested in writing even a couple sentences or bullet points of what you're thinking about this, and you want to either put that in the chat or send it to any of us on staff, it would be great to collect those and share those out. So how about a thought from group 2, which was Rhea's group, it looks like, or Regina's group.
Let's see, does someone from our group want to share? Maybe Lolita? No? Okay, I guess I can share a little bit. Oh,
sorry, I was muted.
okay.
Yeah, maybe Elizabeth can share because most of us were Filipinos, and then maybe we can jump in, Rhea and you and I.
Sure.
Elizabeth, you want to say something? Unmute yourself. I thought she said something that we need to listen to. Can you unmute yourself? She's muted.
Lolita, we're only gonna have time for about one thought. So go ahead and just give us one thought from that group.
Well, we thought that we who are not disabled, or even if we have a disability, we should continue to advocate, because there was somebody who shared that there was this bus and there was a Chinese person who had a cane and wanted to, come in or go down, and the bus just went on, and the person was dragged on the street. So we have a responsibility to make sure that the people with disabilities are, whatever needs they have should be addressed. And Rhea, is there anything more that you wanted to say?
Yeah, I think that, just we talked about kind of the need, like the sort of structural problems of that's an example of Muni not being accessible, and also like what we can do, just like looking out for each other, alerting the driver, like making sure if there's someone coming who, can't run for the bus, like tell the driver to wait and things like that.
As far as what Stacy went, I believe that she meant that society is a real disability. And like I said, if people were to embrace people with disabilities, we wouldn't have such a problem with having a disability if people seen us just as people like everyone else. So So I think Stacy was hitting on that society is the real disability.
Thanks so much, Elizabeth and Lolita. How about group 3? Yessie or Cora, someone in that group?
Does anyone want to say anything from our group? We had a really great discussion. Nati or Cora, would you like to say something?
Okay, thank you. In our group, we, from Cora, she said that, according to Cora McCoy, she said that we must calm down, and see to it that we should have an open heart to deal with these people with disabilities. We give them the correct or the warm, tender, loving care and appreciation to them. As what I have said also, I said, we do not only see their physical appearance, but we look into their inner beauty. It's that has expressed our love to them too, and giving them the equal or the quality of being a human, and equality in the sense that they are as the same persons as we have. We disregard their personal appearance. We regard their inner beauty, their character, their intelligence. And until this world, in this modern world, there are many people with disabilities who have occupied high positions serving our country, the government. Disability is not a hindrance to them. Like, for example, all who are collaborators now in our different organizations are disabled persons, that we go with them, we join them, and of course, we always give them the upliftment, the proper attention and appreciation. That is it. And we continue our advocacy, sharing or doing what is better for the community, as well as showing also the gentle and understanding between one another. And
Thank
hooray
you.
to people with disabilities. We love you and thank you.
Thank you, Nati. Appreciate you sharing. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time left, but yeah, I appreciate the point that you know, we need all of us in our society, right? And that that we should really seek to not ignore any of our identities, not to look past them, not to quote unquote overcome them, but to recognize how they make us who they are, how we can change society so that we really are all valued and treated with dignity. So briefly from group 4, which was Pi's group. You
David,
get 1
Kathy?
minute.
David or Kathy, you want to go over
Well-
what we said? Okay, Kathy.
Well, I'll just say that when I was watching the film, I realized that I'm, in my 80s now, my early 80s, and my body is getting pretty stiff. I do a lot to, make it move, but I realized how I could be disabled, with one fall in the street. I've fallen a couple of times a few years ago and I had MRIs and all that, and I'm okay. And I haven't fallen for a while, but it's something I live in fear of. But I'm also so grateful for the disability movement, because it has laid down a pathway of support for people as they age, people who could become disabled tomorrow, older people. So I'm grateful for that. And the film reinforced that for me. Thank you.
That's so powerful, Kathy. Thank you. I love the ways our communities can learn from each other. And lastly, group 5, Amaranthia or Claire are going to share a thought.
Yeah, this is Amaranthia. I think a common theme in our discussion was talking about the disability versus impairment, and how that with this disability in our society, for me personally, if I deal with agoraphobia, PTSD, generalized anxiety, I'm on SSI, and a lot of those experiences stem from my experiences with racism. And if the community I lived in and the greater society was more caring and empathetic for others who were different, both when it comes to disability, invisible or physical, and also just cultural differences, racial differences, even differences with our sexuality. I think a lot of us would have a much easier time. And for me, it would be, I don't think I would have agoraphobia at all, because I would feel safer in my community to go out and function like others who are able to go out and function. So that really resonated with me in the conversations I was hearing in the group as well about racism and ableism, and that for me it's intertwined, but how so I talk a lot about both, but also that ableism isn't highlighted as much as it should be, and that it has intersections with other kinds of discrimination, and it needs to be highlighted just as much as other forms of discrimination. So that really resonated with me in the group.
Thank you so much for sharing that. We're really grateful for those insights. There's so much more to talk about. We will find other ways and places to continue all of these discussions, everybody. Thank you. So we have less than 10 minutes left, and we have a lot of actions and other things coming up. Rhea, do you want to start by talking about Friday's action?
Yeah.
Or maybe Victor or somebody else does? I don't know.
Oh yeah. Victor, if you want to announce the action tomorrow, feel free to jump in. And if you're out and about, okay, Victor's out and about. Yeah, so tomorrow we're having a Mad Mob rally in front of SF General Hospital. That's a rally against conservatorship. As some people might know, that tomorrow is Britney Spears' next hearing in her conservatorship case, and it's expected that her conservatorship will end. And there's going to be actions in LA and other parts of the country with disabled activists talking about how conservatorship is harmful. And our action in San Francisco is focusing on all of the other people who are caught up in the conservatorship system, and also who are deprived of good quality voluntary mental health care resources. And we're going to be outside of SF General tomorrow at noon at Potrero Avenue and 23rd. And it would be great to have as many of you there as can make it. We're going to have Spanish interpretation. Yeah, if you have any other access needs or questions, please let me know. You can email me or call me or message me in the chat. Yeah, is there anyone here who is going to come and just wants to share? Raise your hand, post in the chat.
Yeah, let's get people's names down. Who's going to be there tomorrow? I see Cora, Betty.
Cora, Betty.
Who else? Liz, are you raising your hand?
Yeah.
Yay. Yay.
Who else can come?
I think Elmira raised her hand.
Elmira?
Yeah,
Where
I
are
saw
you?
her raise her hand.
No.
No more? Okay.
Something to do tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Tomorrow we have a.
And I bet for people who can't be there, we will post photos and hashtags on Twitter and maybe Facebook. So if you're on social media, you can share them and amplify it, contribute that way if you want to.
Yeah. And I'm going to post the link to the Facebook event in the chat too.
Thanks, Rhea.
Yeah.
Hi, you want to share what you posted?
Yes, I have two campaigns going on. The first one is Give Me Shelter. It's a campaign demanding from Muni to provide shelters with seating at every bus stop. So at the, right now for our campaign, and I put it in the chat, a link to our petition and a link to our survey. The petition is saying, MTA, we must have shelters with seating. And the survey is more of information that we will provide to the MTA, showing that there's a huge demand or need to have such structures for each bus stop. And if you want to join the campaign, my email address is in there, or you can also put in the chat your name, and I'll look up your contact information and will contact you. Which brings us to the second campaign, which is the Golden Gate Park Accessibility Coalition. I have just put together this coalition about the issue regarding, the main issue is the closure of the JFK Drive in the park. Our stance is that the park has to be fully accessible before you start closing down any roads in the park, because the park should be enjoyed by everybody. And just by putting up a gate so we can't use the main road does not make it accessible for seniors and people with disabilities. And so I'm forming this coalition. We only met once so far. Anybody's interested in, again, my email is in the chat, or you can put into the chat your name and I'll look it up and I will contact you. Our next meeting will be, looks like next week. But if you're interested, just put your name down in the chat. And that's it.
All right, next Amaranthia and Claire.
Yeah, yeah, we're about to go, but I would like to share, I'm trying to get the link to my computer, so I'm emailing it to myself. But I have, I do a lot of artwork about invisible disabilities, and there's a gallery coming up that's completely virtual that is called an Invisible Disability Art Show. And it's about, it has about 9 artists. I'm one of them, and it's a whole discussion where people are talking about the art they have submitted and how it helps them with their disability, and how, talking about ableism and how artwork has helped them heal. So it's happening November 18th over Zoom. I'm not sure if there's captioning. I'm gonna have to ask, but sorry, my cat is in the background. Yeah, I'll share it in the chat before I go. I just have to send it to myself.
It's to raise awareness of invisible disabilities. It's to start that conversation, because like I said in the room, that people don't realize, even though you look like you're functioning, you're high functioning.
Yes.
There could be many underlying things that people don't see. So this show is, their goal is to raise awareness, bring it to the forefront.
Yeah, and it's completely free as well. So I think multiple artists are doing like slideshow. Yeah, there's multiple artists doing presentations, like slideshows about their story. So it's very inspiring. And the actual gallery is up and you can walk through the gallery. You can walk through it virtually. So I'll just make sure to put that in. And then.
Thank you
we'll-
so much.
Yeah,
It's
thank
really
you.
exciting. Yeah, we'll definitely push that out there. All right, so I see Victor put in the chat his email, victorgresser@ramsinc.org. In January 2022, oh wait, no, I'm confused. Okay, Rams Behavioral Health Open Mic. If you want to help plan or participate, be in touch. Oh, I see. The first planning meeting is next Tuesday, November 16th at 3 p.m. at Kumaika, right next to SDA's office, 10th and Mission. Join us. Thanks, Victor. And a couple things I want to share. One is we're doing a care rationing forum next Tuesday. This is actually a national forum. We're going to have folks from Alaska and Idaho talking about what's happening with care rationing because of COVID, the impact on disabled people, older people, higher weight people, people of color. So that should be really good. Please sign up to join us for that if you're interested. We are continuing to ask people to fill out our survey about remote participation. So there's a concern that once people can start to meet in person again, that we may lose the possibility of joining by phone or video, which has been a really important way for so many disabled people and older people to participate, right? It's made it easier for so many of us. So if you are interested in making sure we continue to have those remote participation options, please fill out that survey. The last thing I want to share is the Housing Collaborative meeting is next Wednesday, November 17th at 1 o'clock and 1 o'clock Pacific time. And we will be talking about what's happening with the shelter in place hotels and rental subsidies. We'll get an update from the SRO work group. So please put your name in the chat or your email if you want the Zoom information on that. And how about the free Wi-Fi campaign, one of our big advocacy agenda campaigns? Who can give an update on that?
Peter can.
I can jump in there and start and share about, so very excitingly, to keep up this momentum, we've been doing Action Tuesdays. Shout out to Elmira, Dawson, Lupita, and some other folks, and Bisma, other folks who have been really leading those and making those happen, showing up at some of the satellite locations to keep this campaign going and make sure we are staying present on AT&T's minds. Next Tuesday, though, we're taking a break from going to stores and we're doing a phone blitz at the office. So a bunch of us will be gathering at the office, masks and everything, snacks too, to do a phone and mail blitz to reach AT&T this way, right? We have this opportunity to call directly to Ken McNeely, president of the Western region, who can make this decision, who can make free Wi-Fi happen for seniors and people with disabilities in San Francisco. And we have the opportunity to call Ken McNeely directly and call assistants directly, his assistant directly. It's also a great opportunity to come together and do mails. The first part of that also will take time to reach out to other people who haven't come to the office, to check in with them, to say, hey, we have a couple concrete actions that you can take today to advance this free Wi-Fi campaign that we know you care about. So we'll all come together, do a little bit of phone banking and do some phone blitzing and mailing right after that together. It's going to be a fun time. It's 10 to noon next Tuesday, the 16th of November. So you could go to that and you can go to Victor's thing right after. And it's at the SDA office, 1360 Mission Street between 9th and 10th. And then following that, we have 2 more Action Tuesdays coming up to close out the month of November as we look towards a bigger action in early December on the 10th. I don't know if Elmira or Dawson has anything to add. I see Elmira here, and I can't see if there's anyone else here who might want to add something, but that's what I wanted to share. We'll also be calling folks. Elmira, Dawson, do you have anything to add? And then I'll ask to see if there's anyone on this call who can join us on Tuesday or who can take action if they can't join us in person.
We have been visiting them AT&T stores. We visited down the Mission and then in Chinatown. We visited those.
Exactly, making sure that we're showing up. Yeah, thank you for all your leadership on that, Elmira.
Sa Mission Street.
Thank you
All right.
to everyone working on the free Wi-Fi campaign. It is really exciting.
Yeah, can I get
Um,
a quick show of hands just to see if there's anyone who's going to be able to come on Tuesday, next Tuesday? You got me. Dawson will be there. Bisma will be there. Elmira will be there. Love it. Who else can come to the SDA office 10 to noon on Tuesday the 16th to make some phone calls?
Not next Tuesday, but possibly the one after that.
Thanks, Rebecca. Love it.
Call.
Excellent. Excellent. All right, cool. Thank you all.
Peter, if people can't go in, can we make a phone call from our homes?
Yeah, so that's what I was saying. The first part of it will be calling folks to
Gotcha,
make sure that they have the phone script to actually do that. And we'll send an email in advance, obviously, as well with all those materials.
Perfect. So can I ask everyone, raise your hand if you will call Ken McNeely that day from your home?
I will.
I see Sarah, Rhea, Betty, Liz. Okay, hopefully hopefully everybody will do that, right? That's easy.
Thanks all.
Awesome, thank you. Anyone want to talk about joining SDA for folks who aren't members yet? Okay, I guess I just did half of it. I think it speaks for itself today. If you're new, you got to see who we are. You got to hear from our wonderful members. You got to hear about some of the exciting things going on. If you are not yet a member, we need you to join. So we will put a link in the chat, or you can actually just do it from the SDA website, sdaction.org. Just click on become a member or get in touch with any of us if you don't want to do it that way. Sarah.
And you can go ahead and renew your membership for 2022 right now. We're getting to the end of the year, which means it's time to renew your membership. So go ahead and use that same link and stay a member if you are already a member. Thank you.
And Sarah, as you said that, it reminds me that we have more and more people that are paying membership dues monthly. So if that works for you, you could do $3 a month or $5 a month or whatever works for you, or you can set it up online to do it annually so that you don't have to think about it every year. So lots of options. The link is in the chat. Who has any other announcements? Anything else coming up that we should share? Oh, Yessie. Yessie was going to make an announcement. I almost forgot.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Jessica. So we did a quick action at the SRO a few weeks ago to fix elevator or reduce people's rent or deliver food and mail to people's unit and stuff. We did a quick action to demand that, but they said that the elevator's been broken for over a month, which is very bad. So we did a quick action and we couldn't get to the manager. They didn't want to talk to us and stuff. Yeah, but they said that they couldn't do anything, but they could fix it, but they just refused to talk to us. And so I'm doing outreach and stuff to get a survey, things like that, and to demand to fix the elevator or deliver food or reduce rent, which is, we basically want all of those. So we are going to possibly maybe do quick action again in the future, but right now I heard from a resident that the elevator might be working, but I'm not quite sure. So I have to double check. They said it's working. It's been working for a few weeks now. Hopefully they listened to us and really took action towards that. But I will double check. Today when I do outreach, But we do have we want to make sure, even though it's been working, but we want to double check that's really working. So we want to call Julius. I could put the phone number information down. We want to call, double check, and bother them. Is it really fixed yet? And if not, we're gonna have to take more action towards that. But here's our SRO. I'm gonna put it in the chat 1 second. The survey and stuff, I will put it down.
Great.
Give me a second.
Thanks, Yessie.
Thank you, everyone. And I hope that you can sign the survey for us and fill out we have only 20 more till we have our final stuff. Here's the survey. And then here's the petition. We want to get petition. We only have 20 more until we hit our goal. Please sign it. And also, if you know anyone that lives in an SRO, or if you live in an SRO, share this information so that they can participate, and also to do the survey as well. And yeah, and here's the number to call Julius to make sure to demand that we fix elevator. Yeah, the goal is to call every day, but if you have time, a few hours, please, if you can call, that would really help a lot.
Thanks,
here's the
Yessie.
number. Thank you so much. Thanks.
And just a
Jessica.
reminder, we will send all of this out by email. And if email isn't accessible to you, let us know and we will make sure you get.
And I
the
have one
links and
final
information.
announcement to close us out. Our next meeting will be December 9th. We'll be celebrating and dreaming of the future. So that's December 9th, of course, a Thursday from 10 to 12. So prepare to start creating your dream list.
And we'll have our pianist at that meeting that has been with us for the last few holidays and some of our other events. She's contacted us and said she wants to come. So we'll have some live music too, and sing along probably.
And I will take background requests for the next meeting.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody. Sorry that we ran long today. Thanks for staying. We'll see you next month. I'm gonna go ahead and
I have
end
a
the meeting, but
question.
if people have questions, feel free to stick around.